How are you doing today, Tom?
Hey, Stefan. Very good,
Excellent.
thank you.
So, as someone who was behind, Madagascar and now Boss Baby, I'm kind of interested to know how you approach things from a franchise perspective. At what point as a writer do you allow yourself to think of sequels? Are you completely at the kind of mercy of audiences at studios? Do you blank out future stories and ideas and concepts until that green light arrives, or are you someone always thinking a step or two ahead where these characters could go in future projects?
Yeah, ironically, you don't really think about it because it seems kind of presumptuous to think like every movie warrants a sequel. So you try to make the best movie you can. And with whether it was the Madagascar movies or Boss Baby, you just fall in love with these characters and you want to do more with them. And Boss Baby seemed like there was a part two to this movie that we felt fortunate we were able to tell. And it's, family. The first one was about two young brothers finding their way of their relationship. And then, as often with family, you grow up and you can grow apart. And that was my brother and I's story as well. And family is an ongoing drama. And it just felt like, oh, it'd be great to know how Tim and Boss Baby grew up, what they're like, and that, it's never too late to have a second chance with family is kind of what we're saying with our relationships.
Hmm. Yeah, and I mean, obviously, one of the kind of overriding feelings of this, and is this kind of idea of growing up, but holding on to that kind of sense of adventure, kind of maybe a blissful outlook that we perhaps lose sight of. Are you someone in life that is able to do that? Do you practice what you preach in that regard?
I think I've always had an active imagination, so I can relate more to Tim, who kind of held on to his childhood, in a way. And it's important because, part of what's underneath this is you don't want your kids to grow up too fast. You want them to enjoy their imagination while they have it. And so these movies and the Boss Baby movies, it's kind of we have these imagination sequences we're quite proud of, and it's really a celebration of youth. And what the funny premise that we thought would make a fun movie was the idea that these two adults have to turn back into children to relive their childhood to make them better adults ultimately. And it just felt like a fun premise to jump off of.
Yeah, if you were presented with the chance to go back and be a child again if only for a week, would you take it?
For a week, I would do it. I wouldn't want to relive everything, and I wouldn't really want to change anything. But it'd be fun to be able to go back and look at yourself and how you were as a kid, which is an interesting idea, which we did with Tim as a father. There's a father-daughter story to this movie, and just thought, oh, it'd be fun if he could, grow closer to his daughter, not as her father, but as her weird friend in school.
Yeah.
So that was fun to play with.
And I mean, obviously, it's a great cast, and Alec Baldwin is back as well. But obviously, Jeff Goldblum's here. I mean, I interviewed him once, and it was almost impossible to kind of stick to script. He deviated so much away from the kind of conversation and the dialogue. It was almost like a toddler kind of watching blowing bubbles kind of around him. Is he easier to direct than he is to interview?
I have such a great time with Alec, and we have a lot of fun together. And he's been such a partner in this because, we always discuss the lines. We always go off book, and work with Michael McCullough's our writer. But for me, since the Madagascar movies, improv is gold, in a way. And so you let the actors play with the words or let them have their own words. But at the end of the day, my job, because I sit right across from Alec, is not to laugh when he does his lines, because he always knows where the humor is. And so I have to cover my mouth when I'm reading along with him for that kind of thing. But he's really fun. And over the course of the 2 years we're in production doing the movie, we'll constantly try and ad lib with Alec and then go to Amy Sedaris or Jeff Goldblum, and then they come back with an ad lib line. And so over the course of a year, we get this scene that feels very spontaneous, like they're all in the room together.
Well, hopefully we'll see you all back together for a third sometime soon.
I don't know. Hopefully this will play well. We're excited to see it go out into the world.
Brilliant. Cool. Well, thanks so much, and best of luck with the release of the movie.
Thank you, Stefan.
Yes, take care. Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys.
Hey You Guys, huh?
Hey, you guys.
Is that from the Goonies?
It is indeed, yes.
Nice.
Hey!